On behalf of the University of Strathclyde, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to you to this congregation for the conferment of degrees here in our Barony Hall. Today is a very special day in the university calendar. It's a graduation day, which makes it a day of celebration for our graduates, for the family and friends, and indeed for all of the staff of the university. And I can't think of a better venue in which to start that celebration than here in the Barony. In the United States, they refer to these events as commencement ceremonies, as they use them to signify the beginning of a new journey as opposed to an ending. And it is in this spirit that we also celebrate graduations at the University of Strathclyde. Now, in a few moments, it will be my privilege to cap each of our graduates as their name is called out and they come up on stage to receive their awards. The capping tradition has its roots in ancient China, and it's recognised as a rite of passage and as a mark of achievement. And for each of our graduates once capped, this signifies that they're now part of a community of scholars at the University of Strathclyde that can stretch back over 200 years to the Scottish Enlightenment, so they'll be in very good company. At the close of graduation, we have a reception at a nearby Lord Todd building to which everyone is invited to come along and to celebrate. We hope to have an academic procession from here over to the Lord Todd. That will very much depend upon the weather, and we'll get an update on that towards the end of this afternoon's proceedings. In the meantime, I do hope that you enjoy the ceremony, and when you see your loved ones come on stage to receive their awards, please feel free to celebrate. These occasions do not come round very often, and for many, they are once in a lifetime, so make the most of it. I now formally declare that this congregation for the conferment of degrees is open, and I invite Dr. Tony Anderson, Vice Dean of the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences, to present our graduates to receive their awards. Thank you.
Vice Principal, in the name of the University and by the authority of Senate, I present to you these students for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Law. Tom Craig Hutchison. Lindsay Michelle Susan Mitchell. Jean de Dieu Sikolibo. For the degree of Master of Philosophy in Law, Hannah Louise Cosgrove. Jacqueline Davidones Murchie. For the degree of Master of Science in Mediation and Conflict Resolution, Rebecca Bauman. Rachel Woodward. In Criminal Justice and Penal Change, Karen Mabin. Emma Marie O'Neill. Julie Robson. For the degree of Master of Laws in Construction Law, Andrew James Griffin Alexander. Lindsay Margaret Burns. Andrew Drennan. Mark Alexander Easton. Craig Wright. Helena Byrne. Christopher Miller. Cathrona Kerry Samuel. In Information Technology and Telecommunications Law, Ilke Soysal. In Human Rights Law, Catherine Helen Blair. Sinead Francis Kavanagh. Mai Taha Mahran. Angeline Mwafulirwa. In International Economic Law, Fanan Justin Beam. Lazarus Chileshi Chisela. Tim Gemeke. Ross James Reed. In International Law and Sustainable Development, Bernice Annalie Bostich. Zoe Christina Marion Cuthbert. Frederica Christina Gabrielle During. Julie Gibson. Mallory Royce Orme. In Mediation and Conflict Resolution, Barbara Call. Catherine Mary Ann Elliott. Alistair Richard Francis Sharp. Jill Watt. In Criminal Justice and Penal Change, David Cross. Emma Hazel Donnelly. Jan Carl Janssen. Tania Nascimento. Emilia Tavulari. Oluwatu Biloba Alero Topi Banjoko. In professional legal practice, Catherine Louise Suter. In advocacy, Marita Dockery. Ray Motherway. Blair James Matthew Speed. Gabriel Augustine Tulin. Rajkiran Kaur Upal. In employment and labour law studies, Rosa Sabatella. In climate change law and policy, Melissa Lo Yu Xing. For the degree of Bachelor of Laws, Ryan Bryceland. Kim Carney. Mark Williamson Hume. Stephanie Rose Kelly. Rory James McElroy Leishman. Nicole Moffat. Ashley Carlin Patterson. Nicholas Michael Rogerson. Amy Tuff. Morag Adamson. Lauren Aitchison. Deborah Alexander. Ross Allen. Maxime Victoria Amberger. Ailey Beresford. Deborah Ann Boyle. Kirsten Laura Brierley. Caitlin Hannah Carey Campbell. Claire Collins. Kevin Edward Connolly. Michael James Cunningham. Siobhan Downs. Laurel Doyle. Thomas Neil John Fraser. Marianne Furneaux. Laura Gallagher. Alexandra Gilmore. Heather Gordon. Radha Kaur. Olivia Catherine Keenan. Lynn Kennedy. Colm Kerr. Laura Kerr. Holly Kinnaird. Robert Andrew Lawless. Nicole Lochhead. Molly McLachlan McCall. Nicole McGarty. Emma McGinley. Ross John McGowan. Gemma McKechnie. Craig Christopher McKellar. Jenna McLaughlin. Rhoda Annabelle McLennan. Tom McNerney. Afia Majid. Stacey Martin. Jennifer Martinez Sillers. Mary Elizabeth Ann Miller. Lisa Morrison. Mark Morrison. Elizabeth Muir. Jessica Eleanor Nurden. Jennifer O'Brien. Grant Stephen O'Neill. Laura Lisa Annie Ortojo. Martin Riley. Nicola Claire Robertson. Victoria Robinson. Sean Ross. Jennifer Lee Rowlandson. Alison Ballantyne Shaw. Gemma Susan Sicci. Lauren Hannah Braid Smith. Sarah Jane Thompson. Ailsa Carmichael Thompson. Declan Peter James Welsh. Jennifer Wilmoth. Lauren K. Ballantyne. Francesca Mariana Capaldi. Ailey Lindsay Crawford. Ross Crawford. Claire Kathleen Doherty. Daniel Thomas Frew. Ross Jenkins. James Morrison Johnston. Sinead McAleenan. Isla Mitchell. Jivile Salashevi-Chiuti. Caris Lauren Shankland. Chloe Thompson. William McIntosh Davies. Zuhaib Abbas. Sarah Allaire. Daniel Thomas Anderson. Carolyn Bowie. Saima Fahim. Mary Gallagher. Linda Hughes. Rabia Islam. Callum Jenkins. Laura Kelly. Elaine Marie Livingston. Carly Alana McDonough. Suzanne Mary McNabb. Grant James Matheson. Richard Francis Perry. Emma Peterson. Amanda Scott. Geraldine Smith. Lynn Allison Staunton. In Law with a Modern Language, Lucy Mary McCarran. Jennifer McGill. Jamie Devlin. Anna Catherine Faulds. Rachel Lang. Laura Elizabeth McQueenie. Jordan Alexander Norrie. Jennifer O'Neill. Francesca Paciti. James Joseph Dewar. In Scots and English law, Naomi Frances Duffy Welsh. Martin Patrick Lennon. In law clinical, Shona Jane Howie. Roisin Donnelly. Shelley Anthea Matheson. Laura Russell. Kate Connolly. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Law and Politics, Taylor Gillian Mars. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy for Research in the Department of Naval Architecture, Ocean and Machine Engineering, Zina Tian. And for the degree of Master of Laws in Criminal Justice and Penal Change, Asma Al-Sirafi.
Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, and most of all, Strathclyde University's newest graduates, it is my pleasure to once again warmly welcome you to our graduation ceremony here in the Barony Hall. Quite rightly, our graduates have been centre stage, and I would like to begin my address by congratulating all of you once again on your academic achievements. Your hard work has paid off, and this has now been recognised in front of your family, friends, and the staff who taught and supported you during your time at the university. As mentioned earlier, graduation is one of the great moments in the university calendar. This is a proud day for you, for your family and friends, and for all of the staff of the university, and we celebrate your efforts and achievements. Well done indeed. Now, in a short while, at the close of graduation, you may be asked to join the academic procession as this leaves the Barony Hall, provided that the rain stays off. This invitation actually symbolises the fact that you are now no longer students, but now full members of the academic community of Strathclyde, a community that numbers over 150,000 individuals. This is an important day for you all, and I hope that the memory of today is something that will stay with you wherever you go and whatever you choose to do in life. We will keep in touch with you through our alumni team, and I would ask that you also keep in touch with us. Let us know what you are up to, what you think about what we are doing at the university, and what you would like to do to help future generations of students. As Strathclyde graduates, you possess some of the most valuable assets anyone can have in today's world. A capacity to absorb knowledge, together with the ability to use this for the benefit of your community and the wider world. Nelson Mandela once said that education was the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. Do not underestimate this power or your responsibility to use it well. In Scotland, we are fortunate in having a higher education system which is internationally respected, and as a society we are quite right to invest in this. Education broadens the mind and creates opportunities for individuals and for society. However, education itself does not confer rights. The opportunities that education gives each of us also carries with it a responsibility to use what we have learned wisely and for the good of others. A sense of duty should come readily to graduates of this university. As Strathclyders, we only have to look to the achievements of those who have gone before us for our inspiration. To John Anderson, our founder, who established this university for the good of mankind. To the world's first oil man, James Paraffin Young. To the missionary and explorer, David Livingstone. John Logie Baird, who did such pioneering work on the development of television. In the present day, we look to Dame Eilish Angiolini, a pioneer in Scottish justice, as the country's first female Solicitor General and later its first female Lord Advocate. And to Sir Tom Hunter, one of the most successful entrepreneurs in Scottish history and a philanthropist who has used his wealth to the great benefit of others around the world. I'm sure that you've been given lots of advice on how best to plan your life. Some of this advice you will accept, some of it you will rightly ignore, but most of it you will have to learn for yourself. Robert Louis Stevenson put it well when he said, "Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds that you plant." Now, to reach this point in your life today, each of you will have travelled a different journey. For some, the path will have been relatively smooth, and for others, this may have been more challenging. However, I am certain of one thing, that none of you would be here without the active support of your family and friends. They have picked you up when you have been down, and they have encouraged you when you have needed it. And many will be here today, proudly watching as you cross this stage with broad smiles and the odd tear in their eye. Now, they are celebrating today not just because you're almost off the payroll, but because you carry with you their hopes, their wishes, and confidence for a successful career. For the past half hour or so, their applause has rung in your ears as you each in turn cross this stage to receive your awards. I would now like to invite all of our graduates to show their appreciation for the support received from their family and friends. I touched earlier on some of the key figures who have helped create and shape the University of Strathclyde. And you can tell a lot about the values of an organisation by looking at its roots. Strathclyde traces its lineage back to 1796, when Anderson brought it into being, the only Scottish university founded during the Age of Enlightenment and embodying the Enlightened principles of reason, tolerance, and equality. Anderson's belief in useful learning and his commitment to taking knowledge and using this for the greater good is the motivating force which gives Strathclyde its momentum today. This can be seen in our pioneering law clinic, where our students provide support and representation to people who cannot afford legal advice. And it can be seen in our Hunter Centre for Entrepreneurship, which contributes directly to the development of the Scottish and the UK economies. It can also be seen in our Technology and Innovation Centre, which was opened by Her Majesty the Queen. The centre is already transforming the way in which academics collaborate with business, industry and the public sector to bring global competitive advantage to Scotland. These represent a sample of the many innovative projects being led by our world-class staff and students who are taking new knowledge and using it to solve problems in industry and in the boardroom. Other highlights over the last year include the Strathclyde Law Clinic, which won the 2016 Pro Bono Award at the Scott & Company Legal Awards. One of our student members, Fergus Laurie, won the Best Individual Contribution by a Law Student at the 10th Law Works and Attorney General Student Pro Bono Awards held at the House of Commons. The Strathclyde Mediation Clinic, where our student mediators are paired with experienced professionals, celebrated its 100th case this year and is now operating in 2 sheriff courts in Scotland. Our mooting team of Mike Riley and Victoria Fitzpatrick McIntosh won the Silken Thomas Moot Court competition held at the National University of Ireland. Professor Alan Patterson's book, Final Judgment, won the £12,000 Inner Temple Book Prize for 2015 for the most outstanding contribution to the understanding of the law in the last 3 years. And the award was presented by Her Royal Highness Princess Anne at the Inner Temple. Strathclyde hosted the European leg of the prestigious Manfred Lach's Space Law Moot, and graduating at this ceremony was Rory Leishman, who was awarded the Best Individual Mooter in the European leg of the Space Law Moot. The Law School's Criminal Justice Master student, Catherine Law, has won a prestigious Fulbright PhD scholarship. Catherine will be the first recipient of the Fulbright Postgraduate Award to study at the University of South Florida. Now, these are just some of the many contributions being made by our staff and students within the Strathclyde Law School. And Strathclyde is being increasingly recognised as a place where things happen, and this is why our graduates are so highly prized by companies and organisations looking to recruit the best talent to drive their businesses forward. Scotland punches above its weight, and I know that the future of Scotland will be built on the quality of its graduates. However, regardless of their discipline, all of our students learn how to be innovating, enterprising and creative, and they make a real difference when they go out into the workplace. So wherever your career will take you, always remember that as a Strathclyde graduate, useful learning carries with it responsibilities that go beyond academic scholarship. And finally, let me offer my sincerest congratulations to you all once again on your achievements, and I hope that you enjoy the remainder of what is a very special day. Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that now concludes the formal part of this afternoon's proceedings, which I hope you've enjoyed and you will take away very many happy memories. I would remind you that we have a reception over at our Ward Todd building to which everyone is to come along and get some refreshments and to celebrate. Unfortunately, the weather hasn't been good enough for us to have an academic procession, so we shall meet you all over at the Ward Todd once I close the congregation. I now formally declare that this congregation for the conferment of degrees is closed.